Privyet, my tovarishchi. I'm Comrade Vadim. Thanks for checking out the video. I got another great one for you. We're going to be comparing guns from the Russian Empire, the Soviet Union, and the Russian Federation. So stick around and we'll be able to compare all those, see how they shoot, and we'll talk a little bit more in depth about their designs, how things have changed, since really they all are kind of the same. And so we'll break it down for you.
The first gun in the firearm gauntlet is my Russian Empire 1916 Mosin Nagant. This is a very famous gun that many know if they enjoy Russian history or not. This type of gun is the third most produced rifle in the world. Moving on, representing the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics is the world-famous AK-47. This is my 1969 Izzy. Although the Mosin is famous, this takes the cake over all other guns for being famous or maybe infamous. Finally, we have the Russian Federation Baikal MP-153, also known by some as the Remington Spartan 453. This is one of the few guns imported to America after the fall of the USSR in 1991 and before the import ban on Russian firearms later in the decade.
Enough talking, let's shoot them. So it's the classic Mosin Nagant, the Mosin Nugget. We all know it, we all love it. If you're part of, if you know any Soviet history here, you know this gun. It's one of the first bolt-action guns. It was the first one for the Soviet Army. It shoots 7.62 by 54R, an absolute beastly round here. It does have quite a bit of kick because it is a bolt-action rifle. But with that same thing, nothing quite goes wrong with this gun. It just keeps running. This specific one, like I said, is from 1916, so it's 107 years old, and runs like it was just made yesterday. And with a lot of these guns, there's a lot of cosmoline inside of them, so a lot of people will get them, they gotta slap them open and slap them closed, give it a good cleaning, and it'll run perfectly fine. For the small gun! Barely. Alright, now for the USSR, we have the famous AK-47. This is an AKM, meaning it's stamped and not milled, but about the same gun. We all know it, we all love it. You can see them all over the world. The greatest civil wars use them, and the greatest coups use them. So let's see how this one runs. It's a lot of fun. All right, now representing the Russian Federation is the Baikal MP-153. If you're not well versed in Russian history, the Russian Federation is what we currently know as Russia. It came around in 1991 as the Soviet Union collapsed. And since then, with US legislature, there's also been a lot of import bans from Russian firearms. So this is one of the few guns we actually had produced that was imported to the United States from the Russian Federation. If you don't know much about this gun, check out my last video. We just had a video come out about the MP-153 versus the American Browning A5. So go check that one out. You'll learn a lot more about this gun. But for now, let's see how she runs. Obviously, you can't see much over there because we're shooting bird shot over there, but let's load up some slugs and see if we can't hit some steel. Now we got 3 slugs in here, let's hit some steel. All right, last 2 here. Let's see if we can't hit some of the small gongs. Barely nicked it. There we go. All right, if you're anything like me, you're going through this video already and going, which one of these do I use for home defense? Well, let's try it out. So we got the Mosin here first. And it's been a bad day. This guy, bad guy number 1 here, just walked through the door and I've got my Mosin in hand. Stay back! Oh man. Nice tight grouping there. I mean, it's from 5 yards, so it's probably not too good actually. But moral of the story is I don't think that guy's getting back up. All right, now next we'll do the Russian Federation Baikal. And bad guy number 1, not doing so hot. And bad guy number 2 has just walked in. Stay back! Woo! 2 right in the face, and then 1 to the chest. You know, bad guy number 1 was looking pretty bad, but I think he's doing worse. Best for last, we got the AKM here. Bad guy 1 and 2 not doing so hot for some unknown reason. Bad guy 3 has just walked in the door after hearing all that commotion, and he's met with an AKM. Woo. You know, there's a reason you use an AK to overthrow governments and not an MP 153 or a Mosin. The AK always wins. So it's kind of interesting looking at these 3 guns because, you know, going through history, the bloc that is currently Russia has gone through so many changes. So, you know, pre-1900s and the 17 and 1800s, the Russian Empire was there, which was the czars and the tsarinas and everything like that, where you had this extremely wealthy top government that was family run, and then you had the working class. It was pretty opposite to what current day Russia and the Soviet Union was. So then in 1917, of course, we had the fall of the Russian Empire with Vladimir Lenin and Trotsky and all those big heads going through and collapsing that government. And then we had the USSR come and take shape, which combined many states inside of the Soviet space over there that combined it into this bloc, which then we, you know, run into the dictators like Stalin and Brezhnev and, you know, all those big heads. And then we get into the late 80s, early 90s, and we then have the collapse of the Soviet Union, which then led to current day Russian Federation. And so we're looking at guns from each of these pre-1917, which is the Mosin Nagant there. And then we look at the USSR, which is 1917 to 1991. So we have the 1969 AK. And then after 1991, going into the Russian Federation, where we have the more modern guns, we have the Baikal. And it's interesting looking at these 3 and how the designs have changed over time. So we've got the Mosin Nagant here. It's a very iconic weapon, not quite as iconic as the AK-47, but most people know of it. It was designed by Sergei Mosin in the late 1890s or early 1890s. He had been working on it for many years, but it finally got approved in the 1890s. So it's a bolt action rifle, of course, 7.62 by 54R, so it's a very large round. It's got an internal 5-round box mag there. You got to go through and feed it all. It's pretty easy to disassemble for the field. You know, the bolt just comes out nice and easy, and then you can lock it back in place. It's got an internal safety even, which not many rifles of its time did. You just pull back the bolt here, and then you kind of got to shove it over, and now it's in safe because this portion can't move forward, which actually houses the firing pin. And then you just pull it back, recenter it, and now it's good to go again. It's a very interesting gun, very fun to shoot. It does have the classic sights that many people know from the AK. This is when those sights actually started coming and being useful. But it's a really fun gun to shoot. Now we're looking at the AKM. This was designed by Mikhail Kalashnikov, of course. Everyone knows him. Everyone knows the AK-47. It's a semi-auto rifle here. It was designed to be full auto. It was one of the most advanced guns for its time frame, being put into service in 1947. It does have a detachable magazine, typically 30 rounds. It does typically have automatic and semi-automatic modes. Of course, we're in the United States. I don't have all the licenses, so this one is only semi-automatic, sadly. But this gun, man, is it just a lot of fun. So smooth to operate, quite lightweight to carry around, sling on it. It's a lot of fun. If you've never shot an AK, I highly recommend it. Now we have the Russian Federation Baikal MP-153. It's one of the few guns, like I've said, that was brought into the United States after Russia became the Russian Federation, just because of import bans. This one's really unique because this is actually from Baikal. It's not the resurfaced one like the Remington Spartan 453 that we talked about, which is this exact same gun but resurfaced, refaced for the American market. This one was actually an import. It's a lot of fun to play with this one. We shoot a lot of 2 3/4 inch shells or 3-inch shells for American guns, but this one actually goes up to 89 millimeters, which is 3.5 inches. So this can take some really big shells and really put a lot of firepower out. Like I said, we have another video on that one, so go check it out. It'll be linked up above here. But this one's a lot of fun too. So all three of these guns were a lot of fun to shoot. Each one is unique in their own way. Seeing how the design differs from the Mosin Nagant, all metal and wood, to the AK, where you start seeing a little bit of the Bakelite plastic in there, then going to modern day MP-153 where it's all plastic. Of course they make wooden models, but you get a lot more plastic and metal instead of the wood. So they're all fun to shoot. I recommend going and checking them out. If you have a chance to buy them, go ahead and do it. But obviously the winner is the AK-47. It's just so versatile. It's so much fun, widely available and cheap compared to most guns, and it'll just keep running. All you AR guys, deal with it. They just keep running. AK-47 always wins. Hey, but I appreciate you guys checking out the video. Like and subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what else you want to see, and I'll catch you on the next one.